Hi, everybody. My name is Howard Sample, and I'm the director of the Life Crafting Program. Today, I'm going to be speaking with you and sharing some golden nuggets in the area of relationships. Specifically, I'm going to help you understand how you can make your relationships extraordinary by simply applying some simple tools, some simple skills and practices. Um, and I want to emphasize at the beginning here that we're talking about any relationship. So it could be a personal romantic relationship, a marriage, it could be family member, it could be a friendship, a coworker. It could be really any kind of situation at all that this will apply. And I want to start out with giving you sort of some prerequisites, you could say, like what are the conditions or situations that will allow this to all work, because it won't work in every situation. There are going to be obviously some requirements. So the first of all, I want to say that you need to have an agreement with whoever you're going to use these skills and these practices. You need to have an understanding with whoever you're going to do this with. In other words, you need to have both people on board with really wanting to advance and empower the relationship and improve what you have in whatever arena that is, which of course does imply that both people are interested in their own growth and their own furthering themselves in life. So it's going to be very difficult, of course, to use any tool or practice if you only have one person interested in growth but the other one isn't. So we're going to assume here that you've had a conversation with your partner, your coworker, your friend, family member, whoever it is, and you're going to introduce these tools or skills with them, and but ascertain that they do in fact they are sincere, they do care, and they really are committed to working together with you to make something happen. So that's going to be a one absolute requirement that you have to begin with that in order to go further. Keep in mind that as you progress with these skills and these practices, you're going to start to see that they will go into areas that may be sensitive, or they may be go into areas that are challenging, because obviously that is the only way that breakthroughs happen, is when you work through challenging situations. But the tools and skills that you're going to be learning will absolutely allow you to go through those things just with your own, the two of you, yourself. You know, you don't need a coach, you don't need a counselor or a therapist. You can learn how to use these skills on your own and be very successful with them. But you want to keep in mind that when you do go through sensitive areas or challenging areas, that there's going to be some feelings that will arise or situations that will arise. That's only natural, but if you stick with it, you're going to see that you can create extraordinary breakthroughs. And I want to say also at the outset that at Life Crafting, we're here to support you in any way that we possibly can. So as you learn these skills and tools, you can post your questions below here. You can also email me at howard@lifecraftingprogram.com if you have anything specific you want to discuss more privately, and I will do everything I can to help you. So at the outset, let's take a look at what are going to be the benefits of these tools and skills and practices. So first, for starters, greater openness, um, greater connection, deeper connection, improved communication, which of course is, well, obviously key to everything, respect, caring, authenticity, affinity, and love. Being able to remain connected, remain present, remain engaged, despite the fact that there may be some challenges or issues really going on. Um, and the more skilled you become, the more practiced you become with the tools that you learn, obviously, the better that you're going to be able to do. Um, Now, another thing I want to say at the outset, just in getting started, is that we have produced a number of videos before this one. There's 5 in particular. This is actually the 6th one in the series that I'm recording. And I want to point you to one in particular that I did recently, which is on the subject of emotional mastery or emotional triggers, and belief and shifting beliefs and generating unshakable confidence. And so I want to bring your attention to that particular video because I feel that that one is going to work very much hand in hand with this one. Because you can obviously when you grow individually, you get dividends in relationships, and when you create a breakthrough in your relationship, it's going to affect what happens with each of you personally. So they do work hand in hand. And if you are in a situation where you're starting out and your partner or other individual is not quite on the same page yet, but they are motivated, I highly recommend that you direct them to the video that's more focused on personal growth, individual growth, and then at a later time you can come back together again and work on your relationship. Next item I want to mention is that sometimes we find situations where one person or more than one person in a relationship is very locked in to a particular viewpoint. And sometimes we describe this by saying that they feel a need to be right. They want to prove that they're right about some idea, and they want to convince you, or they think it's necessary to convince you of something in order for them to be happy or satisfied. Those kinds of things tend to be counterproductive, and they will ultimately derail you. So you want to, wherever possible, let go of the need to be right or to prove your point with another person. Now, of course, it's fine to be passionate and express your feelings and your viewpoints and your beliefs, and have conviction behind what you say. But I recommend you also allow for the other person to be in a different place than you are. Next, there's the prerequisite or strong recommendation that you both be willing to express feelings and to validate them in yourself and in the other person. Feelings are never wrong. They're always personal. They're subjective, and whatever you feel is valid automatically, and whatever the other person feels is also valid automatically. And the more that you're able to cultivate acceptance and allowing for the other person to be where they are and you be where you are, obviously that's going to move the process forward tremendously. Next item here I want to mention is the importance of being open and honest about what you truly want. A lot of times we hear stories about couples or people in a relationship where they went through a long period of time, and then suddenly one of them realized what their partner or significant other really wanted, and they had no idea the whole time because that other person never actually shared that or communicated that with them. And of course, there are many reasons why people hold back in expressing what's important or communicating what's important, but I want to say at the outset that that's very, very much of a critical piece, to really be open, even if it's scary or risky to you, or you are fearful that the other person will not agree or will not want to give you what you want or satisfy your needs, etc. But being open about what you want is absolutely critical to have any success at all, and really, being really getting on the same page. Your partner can't read your mind. It's an old saying. So being upfront is really critical. Okay, now the next thing I want to touch on here is a very universal core principle that we use in all of life crafting. And that principle is that you are not broken and you do not need to be fixed. What I mean by that is that you are a perfect you're a perfect expression of spirit. You're a perfect divine expression of the universe, and your uniqueness and your specialness is perfect exactly the way it is. And you simply may be able to benefit from learning skills, practices, and tools that help you better navigate situations in your life individually and in partnership with others. Um, so now that may take a little while for that to totally sink in because we're inundated a lot in life. We're being told that there's something wrong with us, and so we oftentimes internalize that. But I want to emphasize to you that it is not the case. Our viewpoint is that, again, you are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. It is just simply a matter of growth, evolution, and learning, and everybody is on their own unique path, growing and learning in their own way at their own pace. Also, there is no absolute truth in life. So we live in a subjective world and a subjective reality individually, and when we're in relationship, it's critical that, again, each person respects and accepts that other person's world and that other person's experience, even though it might vary greatly from yours. And it might be very different, and it might be very difficult to understand how another person can be the way they are, feel the way they are. But that's one of the keys here. One of the key practices is always cultivating a place of acceptance and allowance and respect for where another person is at. And each person also has a set of beliefs that have been cultivated and developed at a deep level over a long period of time. And so you have your own lens on reality. You have your own perspective, your own lens, and your own views on reality. And that which shapes what you see and what meaning that you attach to things. So if it's true that feelings are always valid and they're always accepted, and they do not require justification or explanation of any kind. If someone tells you that, well, you shouldn't have a feeling, that's really quite ridiculous, because you can't not have a feeling that you're having. So if you're having feeling, honor and respect that you're having that feeling and appreciate it and be honest with it and truthful with it, and do not fall into the trap of thinking you have to justify your experiences to someone else. Now, this brings me to another core theme in our whole in this whole arena, which is the concept of empowerment. I use the word to empower or empowerment, so let me share with you how we use that word and what it means. To empower someone means to support them in gaining clarity about their own truth, accessing their own inner strength and power, and supporting them in getting whatever they want in life. It emanates from them. You are acting, when you empower somebody, you're acting as a catalyst. You're not actually giving anybody power, you're acting as a catalyst to help them access their own awareness, their own truth, their own power, their own resolve to move forward, take action, and get whatever it is that they want. Now, how do we apply this concept to a relationship? So I use an expression sometimes, what will empower a relationship? And it's a question that you ask yourself. It may take a while to answer it. So I want to give you sort of a visual reference. So you have a circle with you. Imagine a circle with you in it, then another circle with your partner or other in it. And I want you now to imagine a third circle in the middle of the two. That is the circle that symbolically represents the relationship itself. When you move from your position of yourself to that middle circle, you're in what I call the steward position, the stewardship position. And in that circle, you're asking yourself a very different question than you normally ask. In your personal circle, you're asking, how can I get my needs met? How can I feel good about what's going on in this relationship. But when you're in the center circle, the steward circle, your question is different. The question is, what will empower this entire relationship? What will move us, the two of us, forward to so that we can together have what we both want to have, achieve what we both want to achieve, and experience joy and happiness and success and intimacy, whatever that is that we're seeking. You're asking the question from that center position, that steward position, and that may take a little while to get used to being there and asking that question. But it's a very powerful place to be. Now, if you take turns being in the steward position and you're each asking the question, well, then you can combine your insights and discoveries that you make from each of you being there, and as a result, come up with a plan of action or alignment of how you want to move forward. But it's going to be more than just you as individuals, it's going to really be the relationship as a whole. Next thing I want to touch on within this theme of empowerment is, how do you empower a relationship? Well, you want to start out with getting to know each other, because a lot of time people will date, or they'll have friendships, or they'll be coworkers or whatever, and they actually don't really know each other very well because they haven't taken the time to go beyond superficial dialogue, superficial conversation. And they're always talking about either something intellectual or something removed, but they're not actually being very personal and very much in the moment, in the now moment, expressing what's real for you. So the first thing, get to know each other, get to know each other at a deeper level, ask questions, and allow space for people to share about themselves, their life, their feelings, their goals, their desires, their vision, whatever it really may be. And along these lines, there are two things I want to recommend exercises. One of them is called Love Languages, and there's a website for that, 5lovelanguages.com, which is a fantastic tool. It's a free tool you can use, and it will help you and your partner understand your similarities and differences in how you each experience and receive love. Everybody is unique in that regard, and the love languages will help you greatly. We also have a wonderful life crafting exercise called the Pie of Life, and if you inquire with me, either an email or whatever way, I can share with you how you can access the Pie of Life exercise, which really shows your values, your relative values of importance, and what you want really for the future, to see how aligned or similar you may be. Okay, now then, and the last item I want to cover on the topic of empowerment is the building of trust. We all know that trust is critical in any relationship, but it's often just skimmed over, and people don't really pay close attention to what it is that's going to actually allow you to build trust. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Some people build trust very naturally, readily, and easily. They're just trusting individuals. It's just their nature. For others, trust is built much more slowly or more gradually and takes time and experience. Neither one is right or wrong, good or bad. They just are what they are. But most of the time, trust is built when you make and keep promises to your partner or significant other. I mean, it stands to reason that when a person makes and keeps promises with you, you're going to trust them because you feel you can count on them to follow through with whatever they say they're going to do or be. So I really want to, for this reason, encourage you to pay close attention to making and keeping promises, and get into a pattern with your partner, a steady, consistent pattern of making and keeping promises and being in integrity within the relationship. What I mean by integrity is not only keeping promises on mundane matters, but integrity in this context also includes honoring yourself, not only honoring the wishes and desires of your partner, but being true to yourself. A lot of people are in the pattern of giving and sacrificing, or people pleasing, sacrificing and giving up what they truly want, thinking that that's needed. But then in the end analysis, they become resentful because their own needs are not met, and so that creates an imbalance, which often leads to conflict and dissatisfaction. So by being aware of your own needs and balancing out, and integrity means whole and complete, that is going to be critical, and it is also a skill. So think of this as a skill. Think of this as an element of mastery and a skill that can be learned. You can learn how to honor yourself if you haven't done that in the past, and you can learn how to listen more carefully and feed back to your partner what you're learning about them, which is clearly going to make a huge difference. Okay? So now we're going to move on to our main theme here. I mean, all of what we've done so far is quite important, but I want to move into our main topic, which is the process of nurturing and empowering your relationship. And I want to share some principles and then some practices that will be critical for you. The first thing to understand is that all relationships, regardless of form, are organic, living, breathing entities, and they all need attention, caring, and energy. And the same as food and water, same like living organisms need food and water. And recognizing that relationships are organic in this way is absolutely key. When a relationship is neglected or starved from what it needs, this to sustain and evolve, it will wither away and eventually die like any living thing. So sometimes in marriages or family relationships, we take other people for granted. We assume they're there. We assume that it's all the same. We assume that we don't need to do anything. And this is, in my view, a major mistake. You want to continue with this awareness and the importance of nurturing your relationship consistently. What does that look like? Well, for starters, it looks like attention, presence, quality time, authentic communication, really showing up and really being there. So if you're talking about a marriage or a significant other romantic relationship, you will want to schedule time with your partner, quality time, at least once a week, perhaps more often if you can, and really and practice being present with each other, practice being in the now moment, practice communicating from a heart-centered place, an honest place. That is I would say, a foundational piece to the nurturing process. Okay, now next piece here is, whenever you notice that you are either reluctant to spend time with your partner or to have quality time with them, or you find yourself avoiding it in some way, there's usually one of two reasons why this is happening. Either it's simply not important to you. It's not important to you relative to maybe other things that are going on in your life right now, other urgent matters or situations, and that's fine. That can happen sometimes, but it's important to be honest about it. Or the second thing, which is extremely common, is that there is something that is not being said. There's something you need to say to your partner, some feeling or something, whatever it may be, that you are withholding or not saying. And I want to emphasize in this place that withholds are the number one reason for breakdowns in all relationships, again, regardless of form. So if you care about somebody and you care about the relationship with them, it is going to be critical to find a way to communicate withholds and to do it in a way that feels safe for you to do it, and also it empowers the relationship moving forward. Unfortunately, uh, people often find it difficult to communicate withholds because it's scary, it's embarrassing. There's all kinds of reasons for why you may not do it, and a lot of fear can come up about saying certain things that may be sensitive, and you have trepidation about how they're going to be received. So it's very important to find a way to do this. Now, in life crafting, we have a truly extraordinary method for communicating withholds that's amazingly safe, amazingly effective, amazingly simple, and you can learn it really very simply. And we teach it in our courses. If you are interested in learning this method, please get in touch with me. Again, email or messenger or comment here in Facebook, and I will help you with that. But we do teach it really in our courses, so you do need to be enrolled in some program to learn the method, and I'm happy to help you with that. But without that, even if you're just getting started, there are ways that you can get started with this. Again, setting aside quality time on a regular basis, making sure you each have time to express your wants, feelings, needs to the other, and making sure that you each listen to the other carefully and feedback what you've heard, and preferably using words and language that the other person is using, which will help tremendously in having them be fully heard, or sometimes we call they feel gotten when you express to them in their words what it is that they're feeling or what is really important. Give each other honest, supportive feedback, uh, so that you convey, that you give forth the message that you've heard them, that you've received them. There's nothing more important in life, in relationships, than knowing that you've been heard, that you've been received, and that somebody is with you and on the same page and is accepting of what is true for you. Um, be sure to devote time to what is important to either of you, and specifically not skirt over issues or problems because they're sensitive or uncomfortable. It is okay to not know the answer to a question or a solution to a problem. Part of the journey of relationship is discovering together how to deal with challenging or difficult situations. And if you are willing to be connected and present and open and dialoguing, you will very frequently be able to get those answers and that guidance. I would say that your relationship will succeed to the degree that you're each able and willing to deal respectfully, responsibly, and lovingly with whatever is going on between you. So I'm going to break that down and I'm going to explain to you what I mean by these words. So first of all, respectfully means that you're in acceptance of how the other person feels, what they want, what's important, and their viewpoints. Responsibly means that you take full ownership of your own experience and you stay out of blame. The blame is the absolute killer of relationships. Right up there, when I was saying earlier about withholds, are really up to the top, the most damaging. But blame is right up there. So blame is right up there with withhold. So if you learning how to feel your feelings and express your feelings responsibly without blame is probably the number one skill that you need to have to empower your relationship and nurture your relationship. Important to remember, you are not a victim unless, of course, you believe you are. Now, if you believe you're a victim, I recommend that you press pause here and jump over to our video on emotional mastery and beliefs and use the tools there to create some shifts for yourself, and then come back and apply your new awareness to the relationship, because these two, again, work hand in hand. Blame is destructive, and um, and it doesn't really accomplish anything. Finding who's to blame for something will never really benefit anyone. And there is really no one causing you to feel the way you feel. Most of the time, people have emotional reactions because they're what we call triggers, emotional triggers. But you can learn again how to become masterful and skillful with triggers so that you are able to express whatever's going on responsibly, and lovingly and responsibly. Okay, one of the judgment, of course, is very aligned with blame. So sometimes when people blame, they have judgments. Now, we all have judgments in life, but that doesn't mean we have to buy into those judgments, buy into the idea that those judgments are correct. We can simply understand that whatever's going on in the moment is what's there, but no one is causing that. So one very, very good practice I'll share with you here is the use of what we call I messages. Is where an I message is where you say something like, I give you sort of an example. When you did X, when you did this, I felt, or I experienced. When you left abruptly without our finishing our conversation the other day, I felt hurt, or I felt a sense of loss, or I felt upset and sad. When you weren't available to meet with me on Friday as we had originally planned, I felt upset, I felt a loss, and I felt really lonely. These are just examples of how you can take ownership of your feelings, but at the same time not be in a blame frame. Okay, let's go on to lovingly. What do we mean by be lovingly? Means opening your heart and allowing yourself to feel compassion, a willingness to forgive, let go of past hurts or grudges or misunderstandings. And it means willing to create a clean slate in which you allow for new possibilities to be born. All relationships go through cycles and processes. Sometimes they're deep, sometimes they're intense. And the ability to complete on the past is critical, because that's what opens up space for a renewal, for opening and birthing a new chapter or a new period. Learn about judgments. What are judgments? Learn about judgments and how they cause you to disempower the relationship. Once again, I mentioned before, we all have judgments, but it's avoiding getting into the pattern of being right to prove your partner is wrong or bad or whatever it is. Those are not things that will serve you or will serve the partnership. A much better approach here is to ask the questions. Number one, what can I learn from this relationship or association at this time? What is present for me? And it seems that I am learning, or why we're together, and what am I learning here? What opportunity is being presented to me now with this person, and am I open to growing in this way? What would I need to give up in order to embrace this unique opportunity now? In what way can I help the other person learn? Are they open to this kind of growth? And finally, are we aligned and wanting the same things? And are we having fun? Because the truth is, you can actually have fun even when things are difficult and challenging. So it doesn't mean you still can't have fun and laugh and joke and be playful and and be sweet with each other. Um, so as I mentioned to you earlier about the steward position, very very important to take turns being in that stewardship role and then sharing the insights really you gain and creating a plan. Learn about the emotional triggers. Learn about those things that trigger you. The chances are that those triggers occur when they hit upon some wound of the past, some emotional wound of the past, or some strong belief with an emotional aspect to it. As you gain greater skill awareness with your emotional triggers, you can take more ownership. You're not so much at the effect of your emotions. You're more masterful and skillful with them and still able to express whatever is going on. So these are practices that I strongly recommend that you get into and that you do them regularly, because these things are not going to be very useful or effective just quite honestly listening to this or watching this video and then forgetting these things. What's going to work is setting aside time in your calendar to practice these things. Start wherever you are. There's no right or wrong place to begin. Just start wherever you are and just take one step at a time. Uh, and having a support system is very valuable too. Well, if you're watching this and you're connected to Life Crafting, even if it's just in social media or via email exchange, you already have a support system and you already have people who you can bounce things off of and get feedback and get ideas and get some guidance and coaching along the way as you learn and practice these skills. Consistency and consistency is like in anything in life is the key. Continuing to do these things uh, and noticing and acknowledging how you're actually becoming better at it will really go very far. So the next thing we wanted to wrap things up for today, I really would like to know, first of all, your takeaways from what I shared today. Like, are these things resonating for you? Have you heard some of these things before? Have you practiced these things before, but maybe didn't see them through all the way? Or are these things really striking a chord in you and you would like to learn more about how to really do these things consistently? If so, then you might want to reach out and let's start and let's have a conversation and see how we might be able to work together to help you or you and your partner conceivably master these things and use these things, okay? There are a number of different ways in life crafting that we can help you advance in your relationship skills and practices and mastery. The first one is we have various coaching packages, we have courses, and the first step in this is scheduling what we call a discovery session. It's a no cost session with me. Typically, it's going to be 30 to 45 minutes in length. We'll look at your situation in depth. We'll see where you are. We'll see what's right for you. We'll see what would be a program that's really going to fit. There's no cost, but at the same time, we of course only want to schedule sessions if you're committed and serious to making something happen. I'm going to put the link for scheduling the discovery session in a comment right under this video, so you'll have that. The next area where we can help you is in our Breakthrough Astrology program. This also relates to another video that I did recently on evolutionary astrology. We went into great detail there, and so this applies both to you, both individually and as a partnership or couple, because I do sessions with people. I do sessions with couples quite a bit, and individuals as well. And so, if you are going through a time right now where you are really challenged in your relationship and you want to create a breakthrough and you want to understand spiritually what is going on, there's absolutely no better option than having a session with both of you together with your birth charts, because we can go very deep, very fast. We can get right to the key issues that are going on, and we can bring these practices and tools that I'm sharing with you today, we can weave them together with the astrological elements. So it becomes just an extraordinary uh, resource for you really moving forward. The last of the three places I want to touch on briefly is the business context. A lot of our clients in life crafting are crafting their ideal business based on their life purpose and their unique skills. And in that context, communication is also obviously very important, but it's different than the personal. For example, the enrollment conversation becomes super important in the business context, which wouldn't show up necessarily in the personal, but we do guide people and coach people in that area as part of our business launch series, our higher end business launch series. So if you're in a place of launching a business, or you already have one, or you want to become more skillful with communication or building key relationships in your business, once again, reach out, schedule a discovery session so we can discuss it and I can help you find the right solutions and the right way to move forward. Now, the discovery session really is a 197 value. And my calendar, to be honest, is kind of full. It's getting full, and so there's limited time. So if you feel like you really want to get some input in this, you want to create a breakthrough, you know, new insights. We're starting a new year. I highly recommend that you schedule the discovery session soon, uh, and really let's help you get the new year off, with a blast, and help you to really start using these amazing tools and practices and skills in a way that's going to give you the results that you really want really soon. So, as you can probably sense from what I shared today, relationships are a vast and deep arena, a never-ending, complex sometimes. But it's getting started, like with anything. Get started with skills and tools and practices. You'll see results. It'll build your confidence. You'll get excited, and you'll really want to go further. Like anything else, an amazing journey to have that connection with another person, where you inwardly know that no matter what comes up with you and that person, you're going to be able. You have the tools where you can honor each other. You can really know each other, honor each other, and continue loving each other, even though there are differences or challenges between you. Give yourself that gift of using these practices in your life on an ongoing basis. Introduce them to others in your life, in your work, wherever it may be, and please give us feedback in one form or another of how it's working for you. I really want to know how you're putting these tools to practice, and if there's any way I can help, let us know. So that's it for today. I'm excited to share all of this today, and looking forward to continuing our conversation for the future and supporting you with your relationships in all areas of your life.